Wrestling Review with your hosts, Hal,
Jack,
and
Chaz.
Hello everyone, welcome to Weekly Wrestling Review. I'm Hal. Today we'll be talking about Raw and SmackDown, Raw for the 13th and SmackDown for the 17th. Other than, unfortunately, more updates in the whole release situation, there's not too much news to talk about. There was a change to one of the Money in the Bank matches, specifically the Money in the Bank ladder matches, both men and women's. So now it's they're phrasing as the climbing the corporate ladder, which involves the competitors being in the Titan Tower from the ground floor, going up to the top, to the roof, where, according to some photos that have leaked, there is actually a full ring set up there with a briefcase hanging above it. It's an interesting situation. It's definitely not a match I've ever seen before.
It is. And for those who don't know the term Titan Arena, it's actually the WWE headquarters.
Yeah. Back in the day, the actual company name for WWE used to be Titan Sports.
Yes.
And they named their headquarters Titan Towers. This was back in the mid to late 80s at least, probably a bit earlier. And that stayed the same for a long time. I think it was after the Ruthless Aggression era ended when they officially became World Wrestling Entertainment Incorporated.
Yeah.
And then shortly after that, they just pretty much changed it to just WWE. Yeah, so it'll be really interesting. And if it follows in the same vein as the other more elaborate matches we've seen since the lockdown,
I would imagine they'd go for a more, like they did with the...
more cinematic, yeah.
I am looking forward to it. I'm excited to see how it's actually going to plan out. Obviously, we had leaked photos. We're not 100% sure that that's what we're going to get, but as far as what we've seen and what we believe, it's going to start ground floor, up some stairs, onto the roof, in the ring, climb a ladder, get the case.
Yeah.
It's going to be the most interesting
Definitely.
ladder match I've ever seen in my life.
It's
I'm looking forward
worth
to it.
noting that it is a lot harder to keep these sort of things a secret because it's out in the open, the rooftops. People probably
will notice a briefcase.
People are probably like flying drones all about the place now just out of boredom.
There's probably someone trying to steal the briefcase.
But yeah, so other than that, as I said, there was some release news. I don't know about any particularly notable ones except for one that Chaz mentioned to me before I started recording, which is
Cassius Ohno.
Yeah, Chris Hero / Cassius Ohno, who will probably just go back to the indie circuit when he can. Still sucks, of course. But he had never really gotten anything in WWE.
His potential, I expected a lot more when he signed with WWE.
I remember it being a big deal, years ago when it happened.
One of the big names. We're talking. Chris Hero was up there with the names of like CM Punk, Colt Cabana.
Yeah.
You know, so it was a shame that he didn't get the same sort of treatment in WWE as he did in Indies, but you know.
Absolutely. So we started out with Raw. The show started with Drew McIntyre. He recapped the Big Show defeat. And obviously it's worth noting that, he beat Brock Lesnar and Big Show in one night.
Not many people can say they've done that. If anyone else can say they've done that.
No, certainly not. He is willing to defend the title against anyone who believes they're worthy. And sure enough, as he says this, Andrade Almas comes out.
In a way, it was sort of reminiscent to like how John Cena portrayed the United States title. He sort of
like an open challenge sort of
open
thing,
challenge sort of vibe he give off. So
definitely.
That was kind of interesting. And who better than to come out than Andrade at this particular time? The man who took the NXT title from him.
And notably, as they will bring up and will play into a moment later on, injured him in the process of taking the NXT title from him. This is all brought up by Andrade, who it really doesn't take him much convincing to... It doesn't take much for him to convince Drew to a match, which will happen later on tonight.
Also, notably, I see why Zelina does most of the talking in that. I think Andrade is not too comfortable with the English language as much.
Possibly. I can definitely see that. There's a lot of wrestlers that have made that work, notably the Japanese wrestlers. Nakamura and Asuka particularly come to mind as being able to portray a personality despite their lower grasp of the English language.
But that's the thing. They make it comedic in a way. Like
Yeah.
So it comes off. I don't think Andrade can sort of pull that off.
Right.
I don't know if it's his personality or a bit of uncomfortability maybe in the situation.
Right.
But it was still a good little promo from Zelina.
It's worth saying you can't say the same as far as promo work as Drew McIntyre. No. Drew McIntyre was really solid.
Yeah.
Really good.
He's got that hard hitting Scottish sort of.
I like his personality a lot. He's very gritty, very gruff. It's good. I can feel him being a good working champion.
Yeah.
Very sportsman. So that was good. And the first match of the night was Asuka versus Ruby Riott, which is one of the Money in the Bank qualifying matches.
Yeah.
I
think this is also out of all the qualifier matches that took place, I think this was the one that stood out as if to say you didn't know who was going to win this one beforehand.
Yeah,
you
I can agree with that.
pick who would win, and the match itself was actually really good. There was moments that I actually thought Ruby Riott might pull.
Absolutely, look, I definitely agree. There were a lot of close calls. It was pretty even, but eventually, Ruby was
succumbed to the Asuka.
Yeah, she got to the Asuka got the Asuka lock in, and Ruby tapped. But it was a really solid match. I think both women looked good. I don't think either of them looked weak in this match.
No. But you know what? It goes against the grain. Like, obviously, I think when push comes to shove and you actually had to pick a winner, I think a lot of people would have said Asuka.
Yeah, definitely.
But I would have liked to have seen, ever since she come back and she's given this sort of ruthless sort of attitude, like a much more aggressive Ruby Riott.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like a win for her wouldn't have damaged Asuka.
No.
You know, so I would have liked to have seen them probably portray that a little bit. You know, go in there, Ruby Riott takes the win, goes to the ladder match. You know, a bit of a push considering she's come back and we ain't really seen much of her apart from the whole downfall of the Riott family and then, you know, the failed Elimination Chamber.
Yeah.
So it would have been nice if Ruby Riott had got, but again, I wasn't too sure that Asuka picked up the win either.
Yeah, because at this point, I think Asuka's reputation has been rescued for the most part.
Yeah.
I think she's looked a lot stronger recently than she had been portrayed beforehand. So I think Ruby had more to gain from a win there. But as you said, Asuka's still a good pick. Next, we had MVP at the VIP lounge, which is really just the interview area, which they just put a new thing on the screen and brought out was it champagne or something? There was some stuff on a little
VIP
table.
Lounge? You gotta have champagne.
I just like that. It's just the little interview area. But the important thing about this is twofold. There's an interesting thing in here. But first, he's here to announce the 3 qualifiers that will happen next week.
Yep.
Which are Rey Mysterio versus Buddy Murphy.
Which I think will be a really good match.
I think of the 3, that's the... Actually, no, the next one I think is one I'm most interested in, the one I'm most excited for, which is Austin Theory versus Aleister Black.
Yes.
Especially considering what we see of both to an extent.
Yes.
And the third one is Apollo Crews versus MVP, a man who supposedly had his last match a few months ago, pretty much just after Royal Rumble.
Yeah. I mean, he had the Royal Rumble, he went on the Raw, and I think that was when he announced that he won't have any more matches.
Yeah. But to be fair, how many wrestlers have said they're done?
Ric Flair's retirement match.
That one should have been the end. That was such a perfect
It was.
end to his
The
career,
moment was ruined when he signed for Impact Wrestling or TNA, and he went on and done wrestling there. I mean, the whole Shawn Michaels "Love You" moment is just...
It's one of the big WrestleMania moments.
Exactly.
And it's sort of sullied by the fact that it wasn't actually the end. And because that would have been letting his career go out with sort of a bang.
Yeah.
I mean, let his career go out on a high note. And instead, he's one of those people that couldn't get away.
On his own terms as well. How many wrestlers can actually say that they retired on their own terms? with a career as successful as Ric Flair has, you don't need to tarnish it by going to TNA.
He just couldn't get out of it, and he just did it until he couldn't anymore. And unfortunately, that just sort of makes it a bit weaker of an ending. Next, we had Aleister Black versus Oney Lorcan. This actually, because again, this is the same situation as when he faced Apollo Crews. Because of how dominant Black has been recently,
You kind of just
expect
thought he was gonna,
yeah.
squad. Look at Aleister Black and then look at Oney Lorcan. I mean, there's no. Just look at the two. There should be no way that this match was as even as it was.
But it was even, and it was a really strong match.
It really, both
really
showcased their talent.
Yeah,
really,
Oney
really
Lorcan
well.
with some really good technical wrestling, and Aleister Black is naturally just a skilled striker.
Yeah, the thing is, even though Oney Lorcan technically was good, he still hit a few hard hits in there. He was also a striker in there.
Absolutely.
It was a really even match, but
ultimately, as with a lot of these matches, the Black Mass happens, and Aleister Black wins.
I'm still shocked at how you can do that move safely.
It looks
every time
so
you
dangerous.
Watch a replay, it looks like he has legitimately kicked someone
Like
in the
you've
face.
said before, even when slow motion goes on,
It
you're
looks
still
worse. You actually, I'm pretty sure, right? Slow it down. One day you will see someone's teeth fly out of their mouth.
Which is a really good move if that's completely safe and it can look that effective, even
Don't get me
under
wrong.
scrutiny.
I know that there's certain parts, like the hits are on the neck. There's parts of the neck and
Yeah.
stuff like that. It's all open fist, but you know, in fast motion, in real time, them kicks are so quick, so lethal. If that goes wrong, I wouldn't want to be the guy on the receiving end.
Absolutely. Next, we had Becky Lynch come out, and she addressed her weird cartoonish persona leading up to I need to say Sasha Banks, leading up to the
Shayna Baszler.
Shayna Baszler match. And she portrayed it as being something she was doing to get under Baszler's skin. That it was to make her feel to disarm her, to make her feel like Lynch wasn't a credible threat.
Yeah. I mean, when you look back on it and you think about it and then watch the WrestleMania and you just... It's kind of hard to say, no, you didn't. You got lucky because Becky's the kind of character that can play that sort of role.
I feel it's more like maybe they tried to do that sort of gimmick with her and it wasn't going over the way they wanted it to, so they find a way to sort of go back on that more than but it still feeds into the story, and interestingly we're going to get more to this story in a bit, but Becky then goes on to mention that for the winner of the Money in the Bank, she's going to have plans for them as well.
Yeah. I mean, she's always got a plan.
Yeah.
She already knows. It wouldn't surprise me if she goes on... have you ain't played WWE 2K20, have you? No, seriously. For the people that have actually played it, you'll know what I'm talking about. There's actually a story in there that when you win Money in the Bank, the women's champion actually takes the briefcase from you, runs away and destroys it. I wouldn't put it past Becky Lynch to take the briefcase and just run away. You know, so... Yeah, no matter what Becky Lynch does, she's never boring. One thing
Absolutely.
you can't say. I mean, everything is so unpredictable with her. You know, even when you think her character may be past it and she needs something new, she finds a way to draw you back in, and she's always entertaining, whether it be in the ring or on the mic.
Absolutely. Next, we had Shayna Baszler versus Sarah Logan, which
Wasn't a match.
I'm not going to call this a match. I'm going to call this...
the end of Sarah Logan.
This is like if a doctor went mad and just started dissecting a human.
Yeah.
This was destruction on... This sort of aggression might save Baszler's character after a really poor WrestleMania performance and a weird string of kind of weak ending promo segments.
Yeah, the thing that I find upsetting about the whole thing is that you know, was it even a day, 2 days later that Sarah Logan was released from the WWE?
I feel like in this instance, maybe, because I imagine corporate and the creative and business side probably knew what was happening to an extent. I feel like
but Sarah Logan didn't. I mean, if this was going to be your last hurrah, I mean, would you want it to end like that? You know, I kind of feel sorry for Sarah Logan because I kind of started to think she was
She was starting
progressing.
to
You know, as a singles
get into her
competitor, I
own,
was
yeah.
starting to think, you know, you could make a character here and run with it, but, you know.
Well, one hope is that maybe when this is all over, they might rehire some of these people. Maybe Sarah Logan will come back and she'll have, and you know, they'll play it like that's how long Shayna kept her out for.
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing I've learned in this, like watching wrestling in the business itself, is that it's never over.
No.
You know, one time you're in WWE and getting released, next time you're coming back and you're winning world titles.
Yeah.
Jinder Mahal, prime example. Drew McIntyre, example.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many. I'm waiting for Heath Slater. Then we've got the whole 4-man band, former WWE World Heavyweight Champions.
It is worth, you know, Sarah could come back. I hope so, because she was re-signed so good in WWE, and it's a shame what's happened.
It's a shame the situation has taken a lot of things from a lot of people.
Now, interestingly, there was a mistake in the broadcast, which is where the ref, it was announced that Sarah Logan won the match, presumably by DQ.
Yeah.
But officially, it is that
Shayna Baszler.
Baszler won. It was essentially like the match was forfeited
victory, yeah.
because Sarah Logan could no longer compete. Because I think the implication is she just completely broke her arm by stepping on it.
Do you know at first, it wasn't until I saw the replay that I actually thought there was a possibility this could have been real. That's how good Sarah Logan was.
Yeah.
I mean, she actually sold the injury, the whole crying and everything.
Oh, she was in tears.
Yeah,
She was completely
that
sobbing.
was amazing. But if you watch the replay, you actually see that she lifts her arm off
Yeah.
of the mat just before contact. That's just how good Sarah Logan was in that moment.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm hoping we do get to see more of Sarah Logan when this is all over with.
Absolutely.
Whether it be in WWE or if she goes somewhere else. But even still, I think Sarah Logan could be, you know, something with a bit of mentoring. I think she could go places.
Absolutely. Next, we had Austin Theory versus Akira Tozawa. Honestly, in the grand scheme of things, I thought this match was a little boring.
Yeah.
I think
it was just to set up what was to come.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, in the post-match more than anything.
We got to see Austin Theory do singles, and he's good. He seems really good. It's good to see him actually get a full sort of showcase of offense, show of his offense.
Yeah.
My issue is there are moments in this match where it definitely just completely slows down.
Yeah.
It kind of at one point there's a hold where I kind of felt like I was beginning to watch a Randy Orton match.
Yeah. Yeah. There was little moments like that. I didn't expect much from this match other than it to just showcase Austin Theory.
Because we've not seen him singles on the main shows yet.
Exactly, and he's the one I thought originally when they brought him up, it was literally just to fill in for Andrade, and when Andrade comes back,
he might just disappear.
An afterthought, but it hasn't been the case. Yeah. They seem to run with him, so it was good to see him in a one-on-one bout just to showcase a bit more of what he can do.
Yeah.
And I think Akira Tozawa is the perfect man to have gotten not the best of Austin Theory, but something out of Austin Theory, because Akira Tozawa is one of the biggest high flyers in the business, even though he's not utilised the way that we'd probably like him to be. But still, it was good to see Austin Theory in that sort of one-on-one environment. You know, if anything, gives him experience.
Yeah.
Especially on Raw. You know, so it was good to see, and ultimately, it all happens in the post-match. You know, the main thing. Yeah,
of course, after Theory wins the match, Garza and Andrade come out, and they all just lay waste to Tozawa.
They completely annihilate him.
Definitely not anything we're going to see later on tonight.
Yeah, of course. You know,
After,
why would we see more than one?
No. After, we had Rey Mysterio in the back getting interviewed, and he talks about the Money in the Bank 2010.
Yes.
Where Kane cashed in on him.
Yeah.
And Rey Mysterio talks about him being on the other side this time and being Mr. Money in the Bank. So Rey Mysterio cutting a decent promo to sort of, you know, put his cards out there, like to say it's my time now.
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking back at it, and I'm thinking he talks about that like it was the worst moment in his career. But do you know, looking back at it, I think he should actually go back to the time he actually won the WWE title as probably the worst moment in his career. I mean, do you remember him winning the WWE title?
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
I also think I was on and off wrestling at the time.
Alright, let me recap you on this one, right? So it was 2011 Money in the Bank, and CM Punk was the WWE champion. He basically says that he ain't gonna re-sign with WWE.
I remember that, yeah.
Actually, no, wait. In saying that, maybe John Cena was the champ. I can't remember who was the champion, but CM Punk was going for the WWE title against John Cena, and they tried to play on the Montreal Screwjob, and he weren't going to re-sign with the company. He was going to leave with the WWE title. I just can't remember if he was the champion going into it or if he was the challenger. But he ultimately wins the match after John Cena refuses to do the whole Montreal Screwjob play.
He's a champion because they're trying to take the title off of him.
Yeah, so
he's
yeah,
saying he's
and
gonna
then
keep it.
he leaves with the championship.
That famous shot of him sitting on the barricade, waving goodbye.
Blowing a kiss at Vince. Yeah. And then, I don't know if it was the next night on Raw or a couple of weeks later, but they had a tournament to crown the new WWE champion. People like Alex Riley was involved. The Miz, R-Truth, I think.
Alex Riley.
Rey Mysterio. I think the final was Rey Mysterio versus The Miz. And Rey Mysterio won the WWE Championship. For John Cena to then come out and challenge him straight away to win the title, right?
Even Ray gets Cena.
Literally, like the final on Raw, the first match on Raw, Rey Mysterio wins the WWE title. And then John Cena says, look, I want to be your first challenger. Rey Mysterio, being Rey Mysterio, accepts it. Later that night, John Cena wins the title. So Rey Mysterio wasn't even WWE champion for a day, a couple of hours, and that's when we got the famous cult of personality.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, so I would state that rather than his Money in the Bank one, but because we're coming up to Money in the Bank, I suppose that's what's relevant about it. I don't think Rey Mysterio is one of the names I put up there to win the Money in the Bank this year, right?
Not to win it, but I wouldn't be surprised if he got into the match because he's very capable of performing in the match.
The thing is, with all the... Before Raw happened, I would have said that Rey Mysterio and Buddy Murphy's match is probably the only one that I can see going either way.
Yeah.
You know, but looking at it now, especially after last week watching Apollo Crews in action, and obviously seeing what we see on Raw tonight, I don't think there's a single one of those matches that I can actually say for 100% definite that they're going to win.
Which is good. I like that. After that was Angel Garza versus Tahuti Miles.
Yeah.
This was, as is the case with a lot of these matches where it's someone who hasn't appeared on the main show before. This is entirely there for the other guy, the more established guy on Raw, to just beat up. And that's pretty much all it was. Miles did get some offense in really early in the match. Until Garza nearly kicks him into oblivion. It's a great drop kick.
It really is.
It's a fantastic drop kick.
It really is. I'm surprised. I'm surprised we still saw him after that.
After that, it is really just Garza's match. He just does a bunch of moves, gets the wing clipper, it's over, and much like with Fury's match, the other two come in, and it's, they're really
sort of cementing their stable. They're here to stay. We're making a statement. We are the next big things.
Which is, it's good to see a new tag team, an established tag team on a main show brand.
Yeah.
There seems to be this thing where after a certain amount of time, W gets to this point with the tag team division for a brand where it becomes 3 or 4 of the exact same people continuously, forever.
Yeah.
For a few years.
Yep.
Until new people come in, then it just sort of gets switched out, and then it's eventually 3 or 4 again. And at the moment, we've got New Day, Usos, and Miz and Morrison.
I mean, that's pretty much the extent of SmackDown tag team, isn't it?
Yeah, on SmackDown. Sorry, that is SmackDown. As my brain's thinking of that. My brain's thinking of that because I have things to say about that situation. But it's the same thing. I suppose SmackDown's more the offender because in that case.
I mean, on Raw, who have we got tag team wise? We got Street Profits.
Yeah.
We got the Viking Raiders.
Yeah.
See, off the top of my head, I can't think of any more. I don't know where AOP stand at the moment. They're on Raw, aren't they? AOP.
Yeah, because they were with the Messiah. They were with Rollins.
So, apart from them three, I can't actually think of any more.
Speaking of which, it's worth noting that I didn't actually put this in my notes, but we see 2 or 3 segments, like crypt segments throughout the night with Seth Rollins. And weirdly, obviously because of the Messiah gimmick, I guess this makes sense, kind of like Jesus resurrection-y themed.
Yes.
It's really interesting, but they're very small segments, like a couple of seconds or so. Like, it doesn't really feel
but
as much
it happens continuously through the night. It'll be like 1, maybe 2 matches, and then we'd see another Seth Rollins clip. You know, little thing. But I think it stands in there with what we saw last week from him as well, the more aggressive sort of attitude. And then to do this, you always thought that something was going to happen with Seth Rollins later tonight. You always got that feeling that every time Seth Rollins was on the thing, you always thought he ain't done.
Yeah.
You know, there's something else.
We absolutely get that, but we'll get to that. Next, we had the Kabuki Warriors being interviewed,
and we understand nothing of what's said.
No, but you get the impression that they're very confident. Both Asuka in being in Money in the Bank and Kairi Sane in winning her match, which is next against Nia Jax. Doesn't quite go that way for her, unfortunately.
No, it don't. And this is what I'm saying. Like I said, with you got Asuka and Kairi Sane together, right? It don't work. Yeah. They were the tag team champions. They've just lost the belts, and Asuka seems to come out stronger. And Kairi Sane's in a squash match with Nia Jax.
Yeah.
And alright, don't get me wrong, Nia Jax is a big lass. She's I'm not just talking about. She is no one you want to mess with.
She's certainly no pushover.
Yeah, exactly. Right, but here's the thing.
Kairi
Sane in NXT
is better than this match implies.
Yeah, without a doubt. Did this match even go 3 minutes?
I'm not sure.
I don't even think Kairi Sane got much offense in.
No, she was more just running around a lot. You try and use her speed to sort of get away from Nia.
Exactly, but that's not the Kairi Sane we grew up to love in NXT. You know, the classic matches she had with the likes of Ember Moon, and it was just a shame.
Yeah, I definitely agree.
It was a shame.
I expected a lot more from this match. But Nia is looking strong. There is certainly that, and she'll be an interesting element in the women's Money in the Bank match.
Yes. Yeah, she's become like the raw version of Tamina in return ways. I mean, both of them have come back with a purpose.
Which is good because they're, to me, it's probably worse because of how long she was there for.
Yeah.
But both of their original runs were literally nothing to talk about, like nothing to go to. You know, there just weren't much there. The next segment was Charlotte, the new NXT champion.
She comes out basically doing Charlotte.
Yeah.
You know, gloat about her success.
It's certainly my issue with Charlotte, and I feel like I want to put this more on creative than her herself, but I just don't know. Her entire character seems to just be trying to do her dad.
Yeah.
But not having the same chops that he did.
Yeah.
Like the whole.
She's always trying to constantly remind us in promos that she's different than her dad.
Yeah.
You know that's the sort of takeaway I get from it. It's like she is Ric Flair in female version, but telling us she's not Ric Flair in female version. But it's so obvious from the entrance music to the wrestling style to even doing his classic woos.
Yeah.
You know, and the figure 4 leg lock, just making it a figure 8.
Yeah.
Everything screams Ric Flair.
Although I do like the figure 8.
Yeah, I do. Don't get me wrong. It's nothing against her or the moveset itself. It's just I don't know. You know, is she serious? Is it storyline that she's trying to put over that she's not her dad, or is it her genuinely thinking that we're going to believe that she isn't just a copycat of her dad?
She needs her own identity, and I'm not sure if it's down to her wanting to, what's the right word, to honor her dad's legacy, or if it's like a creative thing where she's Ric Flair's dad, she's got to be just Ric Flair.
This is the
She's
thing.
Ric Flair's daughter.
Even think about it. When she debuted on the main roster, her name was Charlotte, Charlotte. Now it's Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like every step of the way we're getting more and more of Ric Flair from her. Yeah. But that's taking nothing away from her incredible in-ring talent.
No, she's a great wrestler.
You know,
for sure.
I just want her to have her own identity.
Absolutely.
You know, her own moveset.
It'll be interesting to see what her match with Io Shirai is like, although I heavily suspect, sadly, Io Shirai will not win that match. It seems too soon.
It does. It just depends on where they want to go with it. I
Yeah.
mean, was Charlotte going to be a mainstay in NXT, or was it just going to be a blip? You know, so it'll be interesting on a lot of aspects, especially when that match will take place.
Yeah. Next on the card, we had Bobby Lashley versus Noe Jose, which sadly is another wrestler that ended up leaving the company. Unfortunately, again, much like Sarah Logan's match, there's just nothing really going on here.
No, it was again another squash match, but interestingly, it seemed to be another teaser to a breakup between Lana and Lashley.
Yeah.
I mean, Lana tries to stick her nose in again.
Yeah, I mean...
And Lashley actually tells her to shut up.
Yeah, that's more what the match is about. It's more about those two going at it than an actual match between Jose and Lashley.
If it leads to something bigger for Bobby Lashley, then I'm okay with it. It's just, I don't want this to be a thing where it's just going to be the same thing for Bobby Lashley once they take him out of this Lana storyline.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know, because looking
this
at him...
feels like a death gimmick, honestly. This feels
looking
like
at Lashley,
the end.
he should be a lot better than what he's portrayed in WWE. You know, just look at him in TNA.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, he was so dominant in that.
That's because they knew they didn't need to and probably shouldn't talk much.
Yeah.
And he had a mean face and a really intimidating physique, and he was a strong man, sort of throw everyone around sort of wrestler.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, there's really not much to say about that match other than hopefully this whole angle is done soon.
Yeah.
I'm very much done with Lashley and Lana.
It's gonna be one of those ones where it'll end when she costs him a big match. You know, whether it be a title match, whether it be a Money in the Bank qualifier or anything like that. Just
right.
You know, something along them lines. Like I know Lashley isn't in any of the qualification matches, but I'm just throwing that out there. Yeah, an example.
So yeah, we had another match next, which was the Viking Raiders versus Cedric Alexander and Ricochet.
Yeah, they seem to be pushing. You know, when the names were getting released, I thought Cedric and Ricochet would be on that list. You know, but it seems to me like they really are pushing them as a team. And I do think, even though the Viking Raiders did pretty much squash them in this,
I don't know. I think they both teams
they got some offensing, but you know, I think the match could have been a lot better than it was.
Yeah.
You know, especially the talent that Ricochet and Cedric Alexander have. But I think they really are.
Eric and Ivar don't seem like slouches either. I don't know too much about them, but like they don't seem.
They move around pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, there was a suicide dive in this match from one of the two.
Yeah. I'm not too familiar on which one's which either yet.
I guess one of the things that annoys me, though, is I still think about the fact that, like, only 2 months ago now, there was a pay-per-view where Ricochet was in the world title match, and he had, like, a 4 or 5 minute promo setting him up for the match as the number one contender against Brock Lesnar.
Only for it to be, 10 seconds?
It is definitely a significant drop from where he looked like he was going.
Yeah.
And that's the only disappointing part of it.
Well, I mean, the same could be said for Cedric Alexander. I mean, he got brought in for the whole big cruiserweight opening. You know, it looked promising for him. And then all of a sudden, you know, he's jobbing, if you will.
Yeah.
So it's good to see. I think these two work well together.
Yeah.
And if they do continuously push these as a team, I can see big things for them.
Yeah.
And they seem to like working together. That's the main thing. They seem to bounce off each other as well. They work really. Their styles are so similar.
Yeah.
So looking forward to more of Ricochet and Alexander as a team.
Yeah. Back at the interview area, we get the Street Profits formally introducing Bianca Belair, basically as sort of their manager and like the third part of their team, sort of the Selena Vega to what would have been their Andrade and Garza.
Yeah.
They just need a fourth member now. So let one of them get injured and bring someone else up. No, but in all seriousness...
plot twist. Humberto Carrillo.
Oh, maybe. That's true. And he does have history with them, obviously.
Exactly. And... he's actually one of them that I think he's Angel Garza's real life cousin.
Yeah.
So they obviously know each other.
Yeah.
They would have wrestled each other growing up.
Mm.
So, a heel turn for Humberto could lead to big things for him as well.
Possibly. Now, they also do talk about the Viking Raiders, which leads to them sort of, I'm going to say, getting off topic.
Yeah.
Which Bianca has to, snap them out of.
She does. She snaps them in there.
So that's fun. After we got our main event of the night, which was Andrade versus Drew McIntyre. And as we sort of suggested before, the arm injury that Drew got in the X Championship match, which he does reference.
Yep.
And apparently, I didn't notice, but ages ago, he'd mentioned that he'd actually brought this up before, and that he reminds himself of it constantly, which is interesting that happened, and it probably wasn't anything to do with his story, but they sort of spun it back around to give them something to fight over. And sure enough, Andrade completely focuses on the arm for most of the match.
Yeah.
It's a pretty solid, little moment, match sort of thing between the two. There's not too much to talk about other than the fact that the attempts to weaken Drew by hitting him with his arm does not work.
No.
In fact, it makes him worse to deal with. And eventually...
Just angry the Scottishman.
Yeah.
No one wants to angry a Scottishman.
And Andrade finds himself at the other end of Drew's boots for a Claymore.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it's over.
1, 2, 3, just like that.
Then, I believe Rollins' music hits. In that moment, Garza... because the way I've written my notes, I'm not sure if Garza hits him, then Rollins comes out, if Rollins starts coming out, and then Garza hits him.
I think it's Rollins' music plays and then Garza hits him, and then there's Seth Rollins.
And Seth Rollins capitalized on the moment in any case. And eventually just...
Curb stomp.
Yeah, twice. Big statement from the Messiah.
Yeah, I think he wants Drew's title.
Yeah.
I think he's the challenge. And to be fair, I don't think there's anyone that would take Drew to the limit the way Seth Rollins could.
It'd be a very interesting match.
Exactly. If they're given time, under circumstances, don't get me wrong, if they're given time to do this match, then definitely could be a match that you could talk about for a very long time.
Definitely. It was a good Raw. I liked it. I thought...
But the fact is as well is... Normally before a Raw, or leading up to a Raw, you'd get some indication on the WWE website itself to indicate you on what's coming up.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, there wasn't any of that for this Raw. So I believe it wasn't fully constructed and they were still writing it
as it went on.
So considering that being a factor, possibly, it was a really solid Raw. A lot of good matches.
Yeah.
A couple of squash matches that I'm not too sure about leading it be where it was. The whole stable thing.
The Nia Jax one was the one that was kind of annoying.
Yeah, because you want to see a lot more from Kairi Sane.
Yeah.
Because you know what she's about. But I'm pretty sure, given time, hopefully, that she will get her moments.
Yeah.
But I did enjoy Raw.
Yeah.
You know, back to being live, more than 3 matches and a load of replays from what you see the week before or the last pay-per-view. You know, to see a good solid, 6 matches or so?
Yeah.
Was definitely a welcome change.
Absolutely.
You know.
So we move to SmackDown next, which starts kind of somberly with the
Moment of Bliss segment? Oh no, the announcement of Howard Finkel, yes. Yes. Do you know, I
Moment of
completely
Bliss
forgot that.
is a sad moment. But it's not the sad moment I was looking for, Chaz.
No, you know what it was? You know what it was? It's because later they show, like...
Yeah, they have... I was going to mention
Yeah.
they have a package for him later on as well.
But yeah, we
but
do
mention
pay
that
homage
here.
to the late great voice of WWE. One thing
The
about
voice.
SmackDown, one thing that happened on SmackDown though that I didn't know, so it was actually a learning curve for me as well. That Howard Finkel was the first WWE employee.
Really? I actually didn't catch that.
They mentioned it. They mentioned it a couple times. They even showed tweets. Stephanie says it in a tweet, and they do mention him being the first ever WWE employee, which was sad but wonderful at the same time.
Yeah.
You know, that obviously our thoughts still are with his family during this dreadful
Already trying times enough.
I ain't gonna lie, it did nearly bring me to tears.
It's...
You know,
Yeah.
a voice I grew up listening to.
Absolutely.
A voice I miss in the WWE ring.
I think the last time that I remember seeing him was when CM Punk brought him back as he's like personal ring announcer.
Yes. Yeah, whether he made periodic appearances from then on, I'm not too sure.
Not sure off the top of my head. It was around time that I think we weren't really paying much attention to wrestling as well.
No, but you know what? There was nothing more thrilling than when he would just introduce a new champion.
Such a great voice.
And you just knew. Just the way it flowed from his mouth. It was just... Yeah. It's sad.
Absolutely.
It really is.
But to go back to what you were saying,
we move on to another sad moment on SmackDown. Do you know the worst thing is? It wasn't the actual segment itself. It was more. I don't know if Braun's not comfortable or if it's me, but one of us isn't comfortable when he's talking.
I don't buy Braun Strowman's. WWE has this thing. I've mentioned this a few times. I don't know if I've mentioned it on recording before. I've definitely mentioned it off a few times. WWE have this weird habit. Their creative team has this weird habit of having a very specific way to write faces, and they're very snarky, very witty, very hard. You're silly, and I don't like you.
It
you
doesn't
stink.
work for someone with Braun Strowman's posture.
Absolutely not. He just doesn't fit, and I don't think he's comfortable with it.
No.
He
makes
so
me
much
uncomfortable watching it.
But there are some good moments. Cross and Bliss, as always, have great chemistry.
Yeah.
The actual present he receives, being the black sheep mask from his time, the White Family, was a cool callback.
Even Bray Wyatt's little laughter in the background.
Yeah. And it was nice to see him reference when Bliss and Strowman were a mixed tag team.
Yes.
From the old mixed
was it Little Big or Big?
Did they have a specific
They had a specific name. I can't. She did say it. I just can't remember what she said, and I never really watched the mixed tag team
challenge.
Yeah.
After that, we got our first match.
Yeah.
Which was Sasha Banks versus Tamina. Bayley was on commentary for this one.
She was again. I like this heel Bayley. You see it more when she's talking alone on commentary as well. I mean, she is so cocky, so arrogant. It's so much better than the happy-go-lucky Bayley that we grew up with. I know you like the happy-go-lucky Bayley. I don't know. I didn't take it serious.
It's fine. It doesn't. Not everything works for everyone.
But this.
But it is a good gimmick.
I can get behind this heel Bayley really, really well.
She's really getting into it as well.
The match itself, I mean, Tamina looks good.
Yeah.
Her return is cement. Look, I'm not saying that she will win the women's title from Bayley,
but she looks like a strong contender.
But she really does look like a strong contender. Like, it's not. I'm not going into this match saying Bailey's gonna win.
Yeah.
You know, and I'd welcome Tamina
Yeah.
as the women's champion. She's been in the company far too long, been put through so much bad creative ever since she's been there, that if they do run with this gimmick and make her relevant,
Yeah.
then this could be the best Tamina we're gonna get.
Yeah.
You know. The match itself, I was fine with. I do like the whole Lacey Evans. You know, we seem to be carrying on a story that's been, you know, coming out with Lacey Evans. I mean, Sasha Banks screwed her at WrestleMania
at the title, yeah.
You know, Bailey then tries to get involved. Lacey Evans evens the score.
Yeah.
You know, Tamina picks up the win.
I'm starting to like Lacey now that we're seeing more of her.
Yeah, she's improved quite a lot from. Like I said I did like her from the get go. I would just like to see more of her in ring talent.
Yeah.
You know, and you know what I think. As they announced the Lacey Evans Sasha Banks Money in the Bank qualifier, I believe that if that's actually a singles one-on-one match and Bailey don't get involved, that could be where we see the real
definitely.
Lacey Evans, the one we're waiting to see.
Definitely. Bottomly, I said, due to Lacey getting involved in the match and stopping Bailey from getting too involved in screwing Tamina over, Tamina does beat Sasha. And she gets a super kick, gets the pin. And
2 super kicks, if that. Like,
super kicks, yeah.
The first one outside brings her in, second one inside. Sasha ain't getting up from that.
Obviously, Lacey just sort of talks about like having a plan and not resting until she's done. And definitely with the thing on her hand or arm, implying that she is after Sasha, which I said they'll have a match. Hopefully, just a good old one-on-one singles match, not too much interference, if any. Hopefully, as little as possible, just so we can see Lacey as well. Next, we had I don't know if I should call Sheamus matches at this point.
No.
No. He takes out Denzel Dejournette.
Yeah.
Really nothing to talk about in the match itself. However, Jeff Hardy's brought up on commentary a few times.
Yeah.
And Sheamus even brings up him being brought up on commentary by criticising Michael Cole about it.
Yes.
After the match.
I mean, look, it's not the first time it's happened. You know, it seems to be like we're setting up a feud between Jeff Hardy and Sheamus. Because
Absolutely.
it seems to be a thing that's been going on, that kind of like how we saw the clock thing with Dolph Ziggler. We're kind of seeing Jeff Hardy's name mentioned a lot when Sheamus is around.
Definitely.
You know, so, I mean, you can get Sheamus's frustrations. I mean, it's an empty arena and he can hear what the commentators are saying now, so... You know, I know we're playing on it.
Yeah, I like that they're doing that.
Yeah, you know, even though they're playing on it and it's all storyline and scripted and whatever, but still, you can understand Sheamus's frustration, because I wouldn't like to be performing with someone and someone else getting talked about the whole time. It's almost like you're not even paying attention to what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, so you understand Sheamus's frustration, and if it happens again next week, I can almost sort of guarantee that Sheamus and Jeff Hardy is the feud.
Yeah.
You know, Sheamus's big
Which would be
feud.
interesting.
Yeah, of course.
It'd be an interesting matchup. I'm not sure how that would go between the two of them.
Have they actually wrestled?
I don't think they have.
Because Sheamus debuted in 2009.
Yeah.
Maybe 2008, but that was around the time Jeff Hardy was coming to his last tenure in WWE before his return with Matt Hardy at the WrestleMania. I don't actually think that they've wrestled.
No, because
if they have, it'd have been tag matches. As far as I know, they haven't wrestled each other in one-on-one, a one-on-one stipulation. So, I'm interested in that.
Yeah.
We haven't seen Jeff Hardy since that one-off match when he did actually return, and he had that one match. I think it was the first show we did in an empty arena.
Possibly.
But yeah, ever since then we've just been getting these little memory lane personal trips with Jeff Hardy. The third one comes out next week.
Yeah.
I do like that they're going in depth on the whole Jeff Hardy story.
Yeah.
You know, I don't think they'll talk too much about the TNA incident.
No. Well, they just were
Not many people want to talk about the TNA situation. It was a real low point for Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
If people don't know the story, it's one of the TNA pay-per-views. I think it's Lockdown.
It's either Lockdown or Victory Road.
Yeah, but one of them. Either which way, it's in 2009.
I believe so.
And it's a match with Sting. And let's just say...
Jeff Hardy could have been replaced with like a doll, and you wouldn't have known the difference.
And you wouldn't have known the difference. It was shocking. So many things go on in that whole segment.
Couldn't even stand.
He couldn't. He was... I don't know what substance he was on.
He's high out of his mind,
but
for sure.
He wasn't in the right frame of mind.
No.
Even if you watch... If you analyse
I'm shocked he was even allowed to go out there.
No, you know, there's even a moment, if you analyse the match bit by bit, you actually see the referee before the match, as things coming out, you actually see him do that, and that indicates that there's something wrong here. So, you know, and I believe that's why Eric Bischoff came out when he did, to just sort of come out and tell Sting to end this match quickly.
Yeah.
Even if you watch the match, when Sting hits him straight away with the finisher and pins him, he's forcing Jeff Hardy.
Jeff's trying to get out.
Jeff's trying his hardest to kick out.
Yeah.
You know, it's a real low point in Jeff's career, and I'm sure he'll agree with that. And it's good to see him back on the right track.
Hopefully
he stays that way. But yeah, that along with a few arrests that were mentioned on the video footage, and him talking about how jail really helped him buck up his ideas, and I'm hoping that is the case. Yeah. He seems in a good place right now. Jeff Hardy's had a lot of personal issues to deal with. I remember hearing a story about his house burning down, you know, losing all family pictures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, he's really had an
lost a
unlucky
pet
life.
in that fire as well.
Some he's undoing, some not so. You know, but it is what it is. We still love the charismatic Enigma. And I'm looking forward to seeing him return. Yeah. You know, properly.
Yeah. For probably his last run, I imagine at his age.
Yeah, I don't see him... even if it is a short stint, I don't see him being there too much, in the whole wrestling, too much longer. Maybe in WWE especially. I mean, he could have a brief run in AEW or go back to TNA for a bit, but I don't think we're going to see a lot from Jeff Hardy in his return, like championship-wise at least, not main titles, maybe a 24/7 title run or...
Well, that's the end of his career for sure. So next on the card we had Dana Brooke versus Naomi. This was actually pretty decent overall.
Yeah, well, before this match, we did have that brief backstage moment where Carmella saying, "Look, why are you focusing on this match?"
That's right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, it's true.
So Dana Brooks, she's getting ready. Carmella wants her to focus on the tag title match, which is next week. I wondered when that was going to be, and we got that answer. Yeah. Because last week I said, you know, they want a challenge for the titles, but they just announced Dana Brooke in a match with Naomi. Yeah. So at least now we know.
Carmella's questioned that as well.
Yeah. So now we know when that match is going ahead. It's going ahead next week. Carmella wants Dana to focus on that. Dana sort of, you know, I'm going to focus on both. I can do both. You know, just watch me. And in probably the most surprising result of the night, I didn't see Dana Brooke winning this match. I was certain we were going to see Naomi in the Money in the Bank, but
it was kind of weird ending, just like the roll up.
Yeah, it's a standard sort of you know, end this match now.
Yeah.
You know, when the match isn't going. I mean, normally you get it from crowd reaction. Yeah. So I've got.
We can't really say that.
We can't really say that now, so I can only assume that people in the back were watching this match and thinking it's a bit too flat. Let's end it.
I did enjoy it though.
I didn't mind it. I thought it was a decent match. It's good to see Dana Brooke actually getting a bit more in WWE rather than just being that sort of in the back jobber that she has been. She's got a great build.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm not saying she's going to win the Money in the Bank, but at least she's going to have a platform now to showcase what she can actually do.
Yeah.
Because we haven't really seen much of Dana Brooke in the ring. Oh, you know, she loses matches.
Yeah.
You know, and when she loses, it's squash matches. We haven't really seen a potential big fight from Dana Brooke.
Right.
And I'm hoping we get to see a lot more of that from...
We'll see. Next we had probably one of the moments that stood out the most for me this week as far as segments go.
Yes.
And as always, it comes from...
the storyline that we
the
love
most
to talk about.
unlikely storyline to like really get into.
Yeah, but it's the one we're always excited to watch. When we had the moment where the storyline didn't fade, but it wasn't shown for like a week, it was like you missed it.
It's kind of disappointing.
Yeah. So, even though it's like a storyline that you don't normally like to see in WWE, it's been the feel-good factor in WWE. And I think that's not just down to the writing of it, I think it's down to the people involved in it.
Yeah.
You know, you've got someone that you actually hate, Dolph Ziggler. You know, I love the guy's in-ring ability, but he's so good at making you hate him.
Yeah.
Otis, I don't think you could hate the guy.
I don't understand why he's so charming.
I don't either. But his personality is just, you know, he's a wonderful guy.
Yeah.
You know, Mandy Rose, Sonya Deville, it's got the perfect lineup. You know, in so many ways. And I think one thing that I was hoping for is more out of Sonya Deville from this.
Yeah.
And she delivered on SmackDown.
Yeah. Sonya went places in this segment.
Yeah. She wasn't a bystander in this storyline anymore. She put herself front and centre.
And to go back into something you had talked about initially, you suggested the idea that maybe this was like back when this first happened. I think it's even in like the first episode of this podcast.
Yeah.
The first episode of this podcast, I think, has
all
this
those
moment.
weeks ago.
Yeah. Wow. It's even then. I remember specifically. I remember you mentioned the idea that this could be going down the direction of Sonya having a gay romance / interest thing with Mandy, and she did. I don't know if there's so much you continuously going on about it for a while, like thinking this is going to be the case.
It's sort of stuck in your head.
Or if it actually is playing out this way. But the way she spoke initially before she had the complete meltdown,
it
really sounded like she was jealous, and it almost like she was about to confess something before she switched.
Yeah, I mean,
but when she switched, wow.
We saw the cage fight of Sonya Deville.
Vitriol does not begin to describe it. She was very upset.
She was.
And
it's one of the strongest female mic performances.
Recently, certainly.
Yeah.
But eventually, Ziggler comes out to make sure it doesn't get too out of hand and to remind us that, oh yeah, we're watching WWE. This isn't just like... This is really intense drama. This is WWE.
I don't know if it was just me or...
You were disappointed when he came out.
Yeah, when Ziggler came out, it was just like, you have just ruined this whole segment with your begging. I mean, don't do this to yourself. I mean, it screamed desperate.
But Sonya did get to finish it with a punctuation mark.
She did.
By knocking Mandy flat.
She did.
Which, of course, causes Otis to come out.
Yeah,
and
big Otis.
Just chaos from that point on.
I mean, Dolph Ziggler tries to get, a couple of cheap shots in. It doesn't work.
No.
Otis stands tall with Mandy.
Definitely.
Ziggler and Sonya are left with their tail between their legs. And I'm looking forward to seeing more from this story. I'm also looking forward to seeing who was behind the hacking of this. Whether it was something just to...
That shows up again.
Yeah.
At some point. I think it's... Is it during the next match? I don't think it's during this segment.
See, so this is the thing. I genuinely at first thought it would just be for that story.
But it seems like it's going somewhere else.
It seems like it's going somewhere else. So this is the now GTV.
It kind of is like that. Except I feel like maybe it's more interesting, certainly, at the moment.
Who is it gonna be?
Well, I believe it comes up during the Bryan Cesaro match.
So, interestingly, there's two scenarios in this then, isn't there? Because you've got Drew Gulak and Daniel Bryan that are on the same page. And you've got this stable between Cesaro, Nakamura, and... So if this is what we think it is, then someone within their group...
Something's going on, yeah.
...is a backstabber.
But it's interesting. This could go anywhere.
Yeah, but the thing is... One, who is this guy?
Don't know.
Two, when is it going to come to head where he gets involved in someone's business to the point where they call this person out? But I got to admit, apart from the love storyline between Otis and Matt, this is probably the second interesting thing.
My only concern is that now it's involved in more than just that storyline.
Yeah.
It seems like it's going to be a long-running thing.
Yeah.
And we know the track record WWE have with long-running, mystery person gimmicks.
Yeah. I mean,
Hornswoggle.
we never got behind we never got the real reason of the Raw GM laptop.
I remember the rumours were King Kennedy. No, it was a legitimate son, wasn't it? Sorry.
Yeah, there was that, which...
I apologise.
Is Hornswoggle just... He was just a fall guy for all these terrible stories.
I think that's why I just got them confused.
You know, it's literally been... You know, this storyline's failed, but they want answered. I know.
Hornswoggle.
You know, poor guy.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. We never got the answer to the real legitimate son, even though... It was heavily rumoured that it was going to be Mr. Kennedy.
Yeah.
We never got the actual Raw GM behind the computer. I can't even remember who the rumours were for that. We never found out who was behind GTV, even though it was highly likely to be Goldust, simply for the fact that they named it GTV for Goldust TV, but at the same time, he was never involved in any of the GTV moments backstage, and they totally stopped when he left the company.
Yeah.
So that's why we believe that was Goldust. But look, further going well off topic with this, but WWE's track record with these type of things never seem to end up the way they plan in the beginning, because they drag it on for too long.
Yeah. Well, we'll hope that something satisfying comes out of this anyways. But yeah, from really good segment to probably the strongest match of the night as well.
Yeah.
Which is Daniel Bryan versus Cesaro.
I feel like just because we've talked about what happens in this match, I feel like we've already talked about this whole match.
But
the match itself is
worth
phenomenal.
mentioning. There's a lot of great technical work between these two.
As you'd expect.
They work
both
really well for each other.
gifted.
Absolutely.
They do work really well together.
I think there could have probably, just because everyone was outside anyways, I feel like there could have been more going on.
Yeah. And it was good to see that there wasn't really a moment where everyone on the outside looking in got involved.
Yeah.
They let this one flow one-on-one. Even though we had everyone at ringside, this just went.
Yeah.
Daniel Bryan versus Cesaro, and that's the way it should have been.
And the match ended when Bryan managed to get in the yes lock. Nakamura tries to get involved. Gulak puts a stop to that, and Cesaro can't hold out.
Yeah. So now we have Daniel Bryan and the Money in the Bank.
We do.
Interesting developments though when we find out Drew Gulak is also in the qualifying match.
Yeah.
You know. So.
Interesting to see where that goes.
It is. Especially since I think he is announced to fight King Corbin. And it's the next segment.
That makes that interesting.
That makes it really interesting on the outcome of that match because
Elias is coming out of his dressing room. He wants to perform.
yeah, but he doesn't get to perform.
No, he doesn't.
Because King Corbin attacks him,
Mm-hmm.
completely dismantles Elias backstage.
Yeah.
So this is the interesting thing. See, Elias is going to want to retaliate.
Yeah.
And what better way to retaliate than costing King Corbin
In the qualifier.
in the qualifiers, which then puts Drew Gulak. Well, it can go two ways. I mean, if it's a disqualification, then Corbin goes. But then that won't make sense to the Elias storyline that we got going on, unless Elias screws him in the Money in the Bank as well, which is a lot of screw jobs. We don't need that many. They're saying the Attitude Era no more.
Vince Russo isn't booking this match.
No, I mean, once upon a time, there wasn't a single match that finished 1-on-1.
Exactly.
You know, so we don't really want to see all that nonsense again.
Yeah.
You know, so Drew Gulak looks set somehow to go into the Money in the Bank.
Which will be a conflict with Brian.
Conflict of interest.
Yeah.
Which
could be interesting.
Very interesting.
Our final match of the night.
Do we really want to see Elias versus Corbin again, though? I mean, did we really get behind it that much at WrestleMania?
Not really. But they seem to still be continuing on with this.
We're still burying Corbin, so, you know.
After that, we got to our main event of the night.
We did. Which
was Big E versus The Miz versus Jey Uso.
Yeah, and is this the one where you have a lot of words?
Kind of. It's a good match.
It always is. When these... right, minus the fact that we only have 3 out of the 6, when all these people were involved, no matter in what capacity and how many of them you throw in, they put on a show. I mean, there's not a single disappointing match between any of these teams. I can sense a lot of frustration here.
This sort of encapsulates what I was saying before about my problems with tag teams in WWE. And there's a habit, maybe I'm being biased. Maybe it'll end up, like someone will say in like a comment or something, will say, oh no, it's like this all the time. But I feel like for the last over a decade at this point probably, for as long as I've been watching modern wrestling since the rebranding with the W logo and everything, it feels like we'll have a period where some new people will come in, some new teams and such, but it'll always get whittled down to like 3 teams that actually matter.
Yeah.
3, maybe 4 on the off day, on the off chance. Like the Los Matadors had like a moment where they were like the 4th wheel of like every tag team match. That's basically the colon's entire existence really in WWE. I feel like
they were just there to jump around.
Yeah. Let's not think about the small guy they had in the ball costume.
I forgot that guy's name.
I forgot. That's why I was dancing around what to call it.
El Torito?
That was it. El Trio.
Hey, that just come to me.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
But I feel like this has been, and the worst part about it is, like, 2 of these 3 people have been involved in the issue of 3-man tag. No, actually, all 3 of the people in this match have been involved in that. Because Miz and Mizdow was a thing at one point.
Yeah.
But, like, 2 of these teams have existed since the period where this went on. The Usos were, like, the worst offender as a face team when they had the face paint and the blue and orange shorts. They were the worst offender for, like, being champions all the time or always being in the championship picture. But I just feel like it's very stale. The division is very stale for a very long time.
Yeah. It has its moments when you get like a few new teams come up and you think,
exactly.
But they last like a month, 2 months, and then look, when Harper and Rowan came on the scene, it was fresh.
The Black and Rose, yeah.
The Gallows and Anderson, who fell victim to the release.
Yeah.
You know, it was fresh. Ivar and Eric, the Viking Raider, they just seem to disappear, and we end up throwing teams together.
Yeah.
As we've seen now, we've got Ricochet and Cedric Alexander. We've got Daniel Bryan and Drew Gulak. We've had Daniel Bryan and Kane.
Yeah. Team Hell no.
Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
You know, you got all these established teams, especially in NXT.
Yeah.
We've got the Undisputed Era. You know.
I dread when they get called up.
But you know what? I said from the get-go, I can't wait for that stable to come up. But then I watched Sanity come up, and look what happened there. You know, so if you're not going to do anything with the Undisputed Era on the main roster, and you just plan to bring him up to split him up, keep him in NXT, because they are if not the best, one of the best.
Watching Cole in particular is great.
Yeah.
But Cole, O'Reilly, and Fish are three great competitors.
You could take Roderick Strong out of the Undisputed Era, and I wouldn't be too salty about that. He adds to it. Don't get me wrong.
I'll be honest, I forgot about Roderick Strong.
he adds a dynamic to it.
Yeah.
But Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly. You know, that is a recipe for success, because all three of them in the ring together. You know, if they're fighting against each other, or even when they're teaming, it's fire every time.
I apologise, we haven't really talked about this match at all. I've mostly just complained about the tag team division, WWE.
We know the match itself is solid. No matter what, the match itself
is always
is solid.
going to be good. Of course, great moves from all of them. Big E spends most of the match knocked out, because he gets put through the announce table by
I like the
Jay
fact
and
that
Miz.
Jay and Miz work together to eliminate the big threat.
Yeah.
The big threat Big E. So, that was good, smart play from them.
Miz and Jay got into some good fighting, and eventually, by the time Big E got back into the match, they basically just killed each other.
Yeah.
Jay couldn't stop the pin. Big E got
It was
big ending.
It was kind of interesting, wasn't it? I mean, Miz had him in a figure four leg lock, and then Big E comes in and picks Miz up off the floor, breaking the figure four leg lock and straight into the big ending. Jey Uso's rolling out the ring.
Yeah.
You know, and then we have 8 time now. Is it 8?
Yeah, I think so.
Count. You know, but the celebrations.
Well,
Kofi at home, Xavier Woods at home, the live feeds. I mean, I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
And then you've got Big E rolling around on the floor screaming, "I love you and I miss you." I mean, it's comical, it works, it's fantastic.
Why is Big E so good? Do you remember
Big E Langston?
When Big E Langston first appeared, I think he was like a heel, strongman
He was a heel strongman. He was like
who?
the bodyguard for AJ Lee.
It was, yeah. And the first time we heard him talking, we was like, like, it's Bobby Lashley again. And then, later on, he just showed so much charisma.
Again,
he
one of those storylines that had Dolph Ziggler in.
Yeah. He had so much charisma. Big E is fantastic. Yeah. He's so funny. He's funny, so charming.
Because if you look back on interviews with the New Day...
Yeah, you talked about this. They actually weren't...
They weren't keen on the idea of this whole thing, but they've took it, they've run with it, and look what it's led to. Multiple tag team championships, a WWE title run for Kofi. You know.
I think when three of them together, they're one of the most entertaining teams we ever seen. They are the Agent Christian sort of gimmick for this generation.
Someone came to them and went, "We're going to stick you three as this team." They didn't like the idea, but they sat down together and said, "You know what? Let's make this our own."
And they certainly did that.
They've done that. You know, whether they're heel or faces. You know, the New Day are always someone you talk about.
So I would say, out of the 2 shows this week...
Raw, probably.
Really?
To be fair, I like the fact that Raw was back to being live and we got to see more than 3 matches. SmackDown had good matches, but it's all established.
That's fair.
You know, I like where we're going with this stable with Angel Garza. Still waiting to see what's next for a few other superstars. I like the Seth Rollins promos. I'm waiting to see Kevin Owens on the forefront because he actually beat Seth Rollins at Mania. We haven't seen him.
Just in those weird car pop promo.
You know, other than Sonya Deville's match, the surprise Dana Brooke win, you know, they were both solid, but for me, I think Raw, just because it's back You know, it was back to normal. It felt like it was back to normal. You know, so that's why
fair.
I'm going for Raw.
So fair. I know. I just really liked SmackDown. I thought it was really concise. I felt like everything. It just felt like it just all fit really well, and there wasn't any like fat to trim off. I just really enjoyed it, and also I think I also just it'll have more things that I will remember, like the great Sonya Deville performance and the Cesaro Daniel Bryan match was really solid.
As well as the bad stuff you'll remember, like the Braun Strowman.
It was one promo, and to be honest, it was more just the uncomfortableness of Braun Strowman in that. And I think that the ideas of it was good.
I think at the end of the day, the take home from it is the fact that you can look through and you know, and say both of them were solid this week.
Both shows were good. I'm not going to dispute that.
You know, and it makes you want to tune in next week.
Yeah. Until next week, I've been Hal.
I've been Chaz.
We shall see you next time.